Hello everyone, and welcome back to the HiTech Motorsport YouTube channel. Today's video, exciting one, mid-season teammate comparison video. So we're looking at how each teammate is doing against their other teammate. Obviously, the only person you can really compare yourself to is your teammate with the same setup, same team as you. So let's get straight into it. Starting with the Premier team, Montoya and Mini. And this one for me is shocking. Coming into the season, I thought Montoya about like a pay driver. He's proved me wrong and then some, you know. Mini coming in as a very strong kind of F3 championship challenger. Coming into F2, expected the same kind of vibe. Didn't happen. He's had a stinker of a season, honestly. He's only got 21 points compared to Montoya's 72. And I know problem is hit or miss in F2, but even last year, Anthony and Behrman were still doing better than Mini is currently. Maybe he's taking some time to bed in, like we saw in F3, but still, yeah. Montoya, I've got to give him praise. 3 podiums so far, out qualifying Mini on average by 0.084 seconds. Got almost 4 times as many points as his teammate. Better race results, better sprint results. I think he's had some stinkers in qualifying occasionally, but he's still done better than the races. So, big up Montoya. Mini, a lot of stuff to work on going into the second half of the season. And then we have Rhoden with Cordial and Dunn. And no surprises here, Dunn is wiping the floor with the experienced Belgian, you know. Dunn came in the season as a rookie, you know, and lit it up straight away from the start. I know he's fallen off a little bit since kind of like Monaco when he had that collision with Martins. But still, 5 versus 1 race results, 7 versus 1 quality results, 6 versus 1 sprint results, 108 points to 2. You know, he's obviously the team leader. He's the guy. Cordial, maybe it's shown that maybe he should be moving on from the series. But yeah, Dunn is shining bright this year. He's got a way better qualifying margin as well. On average, he's qualifying 0.62 seconds better than Cordial. He's got 2 wins and 5 podiums versus his teammates nilch for both. So very impressive stuff by the Irishman Dunn there, wiping his team. I think this is the kind of the biggest gap between teammates that you'll see. I think there's bigger like qualifying gaps, but yeah, he still hasn't like 8-0'd him in any of the stats. You know, isn't like beating him in every single race or every single qualifying session. But still, it's a big margin between these 2 drivers. And then we have Campos with Marty and Arvid Lindblad. A lot tighter of a battle, but Marty's the more experienced head, you know. He's been up against Hedges last year, couldn't defeat him. Lindblad this year, a rookie as well. Can't beat him either, it seems anyway. I mean, it's quite close. For the guys who are scoring a lot of points, this one is one of the closer ones. Race results 4 and 3 to Lindblad, quality results 6 and 2 for Lindblad, sprint results the same way, 5 and 3. Then 84 points for the Brit, for 69 points, nice for the Spanish guy. Average qualifying margin, 0.351 seconds difference in favour of Lindblad, showing that he's slightly quicker when it comes down to a single lap over these last 8 races. But podiums and wins, 2 and 3 apiece for both drivers, so nothing to kind of set them apart there. But it's in these all the nuanced statistics where Lindblad shines, and this kind of provokes that like what Red Bull will do with their second team in Visa RB, you know, whatever it's called. They put one experienced guy in there, bring a rookie in, see if he does well against him. If he beats him, he's looking at a promotion. If not, then who knows what happens. I think Marty's that guy for Red Bull, but Lindblad's come in and is beating him, so he's earning that promotion next year into the main RB team for Red Bull. Now, we have ART, similar kind of vibe. Mieta, Martins is smoking him. I think this is no surprise here. Mieta didn't have a great 2024 season in F2. Martins didn't have a great season either by his standards, but it was still considerably better than the Japanese blokes. So yeah, 5 race results for Martins, 7 quality results for Martins, 5 sprint races for Martins. Total points, 52 points versus 6. qualifying margin, Martins is the best qualifier. Like, it's without a doubt, out of F2, he is the best. I think his gap to pole, if you add all the gaps to pole he's had all season, is less than 1 second. That is bonkers. But yeah, still though, the average qualifying margin is still less than some other drivers, being only 0.559, and that's quite a big margin. But still, it's given how good Martins qualifies, it's still quite impressive for Mieta to kind of have that that pace, even though it's still way off Martins. It's not as bad as it looks. You know, Martins is a very, very solid driver. Wins. Neither driver has won this year, and Martins has that sole podium to his name, with Mieta's 0. Then we have Dams, and who have one of their championship favourites in Crawford and Kushmini. This is one of the rare 7 zeros. I know that there's been 8 races, that one of them was cancelled, so that one doesn't count. So Crawford has beaten Miney in every single feature race this year. That's pretty impressive to me. Even though he might not be the best qualifier, as you can see, he's not like wiping Miney as much in qualifying, and the qualifying margin isn't as big as some of these other drivers. He gets it done in the races when it matters. Apart from the sprint races, where Miney seems to be doing better. Maybe this hints that like Miney's getting like those 8th to 10th spots, and getting those reverse grid kind of positions. Whereas Crawford, he is qualifying well, and so when it flips over, he's in the lower points, or even outside the top 10, and comes into the points, you know. So yeah, wins 1 and 3 apiece. I think this is one of the most winningest teams in Formula 2 this year. Dams, they're doing well, and they have 5 and 1 podiums for Crawford and Miney alike. Then we have Fornaroli and Stanek with the yellow Invicta Racing team, the current champions, after Bortoletto stormed them to it. Fornaroli, as expected, the F3 champion, coming in and kind of pushing over his more experienced teammate in Roman Stanek. Stanek, still a very experienced, kind of solid driver. I would even say a good driver, Stanek. So 6-1 race results, 4-4 qualifying results. So Stanek holding his own in this kind of regard. Then a 6-2 results, and 104 to 29 total points for Fornaroli versus Stanek. So kind of 4 times as many points Fornaroli has over his teammate, and the qualifying margin quite small. I think that kind of like reflects how close their qualifying's been. I think this is one of the closer battles between the pair, between the 2 driver pairs. And then we have wins 1-0 for Fornaroli, and 5 podiums for Fornaroli, for only 2 for Stanek. Stanek though, I still think is putting in a good showing, being a second driver for the Invicta Racing team. Then MP Motorsport, Richard Bashaw, Oliver Goeth, and Bashaw, you bring him in because you want a guy that you know is going to score points almost every race, and Bashaw's shown that this season. Goeth, a rookie, a lot to learn, but Bashaw's the guy to learn off, you know. So now he's not thinking this as like that big of a deal, because Goeth will be around for at least another season. To learn off Bashaw this season, next season come back swinging. But yeah, Bashaw's having a hell of a season. 5-2 race results, 7-1 sprint and qualifying results, and 122 points, currently leading the championship, where Goeth only has 12. The average qualifying margin is 0.554 seconds in Bashaw's favour, so another solid showing there. And Bashaw with 3 wins and 5 podiums, and Goeth with 0. So there's obviously a dominant driver in this team, and that is Richard Bashaw. So keep it up. Then we have the VAR team, and this team's a rough one. You have 2 drivers who are not that experienced, but Berla Gomez showing that he's a better option so far. He's got 5 out of 5 race and qualifying results, and 7-1 sprint results. So dominating John Bennett, showing that maybe the step up from GB3 straight into F2 isn't the one. You know, it's quite difficult. Average qualifying margin 0.58 seconds in Villalobos' favour, Zero wins for either driver, but Bashaw, so Villagomez has that one podium. So yeah, quite. I know they're not scoring a whole lot of points with only 11 points for Villagomez, but 0 for John Bennett. But still, it's like Villagomez is showing that he's got a bit of experience. You know, he had that last year to bed in, and even though it has been rough at times, you know, he's scoring points. It's not like he's stinking the gaff up like some of these other drivers are. And then we have HiTech. This is a more respectable team, you know. You have Browning and Beganovic, two very, very solid drivers, scoring quite a few points, with 98 points for Browning and 43 points for Beganovic. Quite a more even split than what we've seen, apart from teams like Campos. The other teams, though, a lot kind of bigger split between who's scoring points within their team. But in this team, both drivers doing quite well, even though there's still a bit of a gap. Yeah, Browning, race results, core results, sprint results, all in his favour, dominating the other rookie, Beganovic. I know Browning's got a few years on him, so maybe there's something in that. But yeah, average qualifying margin was 0.16, quite a close margin. As I've seen, a lot of these margins are around half second. This one's under 2/10, so it's alright. Podiums, both these guys have been on the podium. Browning 5 times, Beganovic twice. I'd say that HiTech will be happy with their team showing. They're kind of looking maybe push for the championship, you know, push teams like Campos and Invicta and wherever the MP Motorsport, wherever Bashaw is at, you know, Team Bashaw. And then you have Team Trident, who are not doing as well as they are in F3, with Kamara leading that championship. But in this one, got Megatuna, Esterson, doing okay. I mean, they're both rookies. They both weren't exciting and blowing up scenes in F3, so the step up maybe is not going to be as dramatic as we've seen with some of these rookies higher up the field, like Browning, like Lindblad, like Fornaroli. Either way, both these guys putting in some solid shows here and there. They both have 2 points, so it's relatively even. Wins 0-0, 0-0, podiums, you know, average qualifying margin slightly in Megatuna's favour. It's a close one. Qualifying results, Megatuna though has beaten him 7 times out of 1, so maybe the one where Megatuna didn't qualify well, he qualified really far back. But yeah, it's alright to me, you know, I feel like it's a rookie year for both these guys. They're living up to expectations. It's a difficult series with a lot of talent for the drivers. Then you have PHM, AX Racing, and Dirksen here, obviously dominating his teammate. Shields struggling. Race results, it's quite even. I think that's because Dirksen has retired a couple times and also got disqualified once too. But qualifying 8-0. Shields is not a great qualifier. He was failed to qualify within 1 second of pole all season, whereas Dirksen quite strong in this regard. Sprint races, Dirksen has finished 5-4 or 5-2 better than Shields. Dirksen has 23 points. Average qualifying margin is over a second. As I said, that's to be expected. And yeah, podiums and wins. It's not looking good for Shields. Yeah, I think AX Racing have that seat there for the Poli next year, which I missed in my F3 prediction video, so sorry about that. But yeah, it's not looking good for that second AX Racing seat. So yeah, this has been kind of look at the comparison between teammates in F2. Let me know who you think's done the best, who's done the worst, kind of what's interesting to you. I've got a cool F2 video coming your way about pyramids to seeing who the best drivers are in F2 this year, whereas we were expecting them to be. So that's coming out soon. Stay tuned for that. Subscribe, make sure you kind of hit that bell icon and like this video if you want to see more. Thanks for watching. Peace.